Today we're going to be talking about tips, just the tip. And in this session, we're looking at the question of filter words. What's that, you say? Filter words? He asked, he saw, he smelled. Find out.
Hello, I'm Damien Humphreys.
I'm Luke Hindmarsh.
And we are...
In Deep Crit.
Welcome to our new segment on In Deep Crit, where we divulge some tips and some secrets that we find useful for improving our experience and our players' experience at the table. Some things to do, some things to maybe avoid doing. This morning, we're talking about filter words, is that right? He asked.
That's an attribution, in fact. But it could even be this evening or this afternoon. We give away a lot. That's not a problem.
To say this morning, yes.
He has a tendency to say this morning. It's the
morning
daytime television presenter lurking inside you, Damien. So what we mean by filter words, there's lots of different types of filter words. The basic one we're talking about today, and we're going to keep this short and sweet, or short and sour, depending on how you look at it, maybe even salty, is that when you describe a situation, let's take an example of a wizard's tower. If you describe it to your players as you see before you a tower of iron carved with eldritch runes out across the dusty plain, whether that's purple or not, whether that's purple prose as in over the top, whether that's a good description, you're starting it with the filter. You're starting it with the you see, and it's just unnecessary. I mean, in writing, we try to get rid of that, not in every single bit of text, but you just say there's a tower in the dusty plain. It's iron. You don't say you see, you smell,
rising
you hear.
from the dusty plain, the iron tower looms before you,
crackling with eldritch energies and threatening to summon the horde from the dark skies. I don't know, whatever it is. Exactly. And the idea is to reduce the separation that your players have between their experience and their character's experience.
It comes down to immersion once again, doesn't it? It's I find that type of approach immerses me more in the story. As a player, I'm more immersed in that story because there isn't, literally that filter, that one step away. It's kind of, if you go back to what we were saying about role-playing in our role-playing video, so as a player, I guess a filter would be I say to the wizard, give up now, rather than just saying, wizard, stand down.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, from a pure writer's, let's get the technical, that's something else. But in role-playing terms, that is a filter, isn't it? Yeah. And cutting that out. So is it wrong to say I'm going to talk about my character in the third person? Or to be the player who says, well, I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to speak to the guard, and then I'm going to talk them down, or talk to the wizard, or whatever. I don't think it's wrong. But although we always sound bath obsessed, we're always talking about immersion. We do mean it's in a positive way. It's important to get into the game, and any little trick that helps with that is doesn't actually necessarily get noticed at the time you do it or don't do it. It's the overall effect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so. As a dungeon master, as a games master, when I'm playing NPCs, I try and avoid the barman looks you up and down, and but I'll try and get that across to the barman's attitude towards you.
Yeah.
So in the way that barman speaks to you. But just trying to think, and I don't know. So you were the player on the end of this experience, but the Chwinger in Icewind Dale, which were really interesting because they don't speak. they have no language, so everything was done through pantomime.
Yes.
To a greater or lesser degree of success, I feel.
Obviously, my character is a warlock who's not particularly brave, very charismatic. I have trouble role playing that, I confess, but not very clever. So I successfully role played him as not really the sharpest tool in the box, which of course was role playing and not a reflection on me just not getting it. But no, that was really. But that was really good. I was really good, and you didn't waste. So you gave the experience. So I was like, oh, and okay, I didn't see you as this little Twinger thing entirely, but in my imagination, I was seeing this Twinger communicating with me in your way, and it was much more effective than you just describing it. Now, not everyone's going to be able to do that, but it's a little step.
I'm not sure I managed it.
No, you did. The fact that we didn't twig, the fact that we it was perfect, because I thought the Twinger was saying something else to us. It wasn't a mile away from what it was saying, but it wasn't the same thing. That's great. Not understanding it is, I think, well, that's a whole different set of videos. But in terms of filter words, if you can think of a filter word, get rid of them. Our next video is going to be on a different but very closely related tip. But this is just the tip rather than the whole shebang. So I think we should quit unless you've got anything else you want to say about it.
No. As somebody who generally goes through life with no filter.
Soft focus filter. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, a bit of Vaseline.
He's got a new camera. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's worth thinking about those filter words. Just next time you're running a session, have a think about how many times you use them, if you use them at all.
Yeah. I saw, I smelled, you see, you hear. They can be cut. But it's not the end of the world if you use them. Don't beat yourself up if they slip out and then think, oh, bad DM or bad GM. It's not the end of the world. It's just, if you can get into the habit of not using them, I think you'll find it improves your immersion. And that's our tip for today. Will there be a tip tomorrow?
Perhaps.